could we cover the topic of integrating Waterfall Cost Centers with the Agile Teams work? Learning and development section seems to work in Waterfall while the team works in the Agile format.
It's kind of a compound question. We know how to interoperate with Waterfall and Agile. We do it all the time. We also know that they're largely incompatible models, right? If a Waterfall is a cost center with a group of iSkills like software developers and testers, they're going to be working on utilization, not flow, because that's all they can do. They're associated with multiple projects. How that works with the individual teams, if you look at lean budgeting and you look at the challenge of integrating those cost centers and shared services as opposed to line orientation, you'll see that indeed the nature is such that you have to bias towards the Agile team. And in general, we're trying to eliminate the Waterfall cost centers. And I think as we go to Agile in general, imagine Agile in the enterprise, we want a common way of working, a new way of working. We want that way of working to be Agile. Can we integrate with Waterfall cost centers? We do all the time, but it creates friction and overhead. It creates different types of, job cost accounting. It often creates timesheets as well as your Agile project management tooling. So we're basically in this transition zone where we're trying to kind of get away from that. I'm going to cover normalizing points really quickly here if I can. Normalizing points is just a starting point, right? The challenge we have with no form of discussion about what a point means is you can't get an art started. You get teams together and say, what are you going to do in this period? In addition, when you get to the question of, okay, we run this velocity, but we have 2 people on vacation and 1 people in a meeting and 2 people teaching, you end up having to back out days anyway. So the reality is, I think this whole thing is incredibly overblown. And we're just trying to say, can this team estimate its work? How many stories they get through the system? How many features they get through the system? And can they make adjustments? And when you start with brand new Agile teams, it's just easy to say, let's start here. But the next day, the next month, you can forget it. And I think what we could readily get away from is any heat and smoke around this topic, because it's a methodological point of a pin, and it doesn't matter once you're in flow.